clearly the only 6-second suction force in the world. Yet now, starved to only a skin-wrapped shell. Simply because I, once human, didn't wish to treat people as food, nor swallow unsightly ghouls. Had no choice but to call the nation for help. Hello, I'm a ghost. I'm calling in hopes you can shelter me. I don't want to kill. So I have nothing to eat. I think I've said with utmost sincerity that I'll starve to death. But the policewoman just laughed on the other end. I said, little sis, can we not fool around? Calling in a false alarm has grave consequences. She thought I was just bored, messing around. Hearing this, I sighed helplessly. Since you don't believe me, then I'll make you believe. As the words left my mouth, the stool next to the policewoman inexplicably levitated into the air and proceeded into a fancy 7-0 spin, leaving the policewoman visibly shaken. Sir, tell me your address. We'll send someone over right away. After we hung up the call, the policewoman's expression turned grave. She knew they were in big trouble. Such remote controlling from far away. Moreover, in broad daylight. She dared not imagine how powerful this ghost was. She hurriedly reported the situation up the chain. When Ligne Bureau's people learned of this, there was an uproar. They swiftly convened an emergency meeting. Upon learning I meant no harm, they breathed a sigh of relief. According to their guess, this ghost was at minimum B level. Yet their highest ranked was a half step. B-level ghost tamer. No way could they overpower a B-level haunting. But this situation left them no choice but to go. First, it was their responsibility. Second, they couldn't let this powerful, starved ghost down. Otherwise there would be countless tragic deaths in its belly. Scene shifts. Night Wind had arrived at the community entrance. But the sight before him left him uneasy. The whole community seemed shrouded in a dense black mist. From afar, one would think the area was overshadowed by dark clouds. But Yifeng knew very well that black mist was no mere cloud. It was ominous energy. This community was permeated with such ominous energy. This could only mean there was more than one malicious ghost here. He then braced himself and ventured inside against his will. Meanwhile, I was lounging on the sofa petting a cat. Do you think those cops will believe me? Will they really send someone over? The cat gave me a meek glance. He seemed truly afraid that I, a formidable vengeful spirit, was doubting the mortals like a lost kitten. Whether they'd believe our words was one thing. But did you consider, even if cops do come, they may not even make it here alive? My words carried a tinge of confusion. Upon hearing those words, a flicker of bewilderment flashed across my eyes. What do you mean by that? Don't you know? In our neighborhood, there are not just the two of us vengeful spirits. There are many other vengeful spirits too. Hearing this, I was startled, nearly forgetting this matter entirely. In our neighborhood, there are at least 4 or 5 S-class vengeful spirits. There are also over 10 A-class raptors. As for those below a class, they are too many to count. It's possible that the people the police sent would be devoured by the other ghosts in the neighborhood the moment they stepped inside. At that time, the police would suspect I tricked them and kill me. Thinking of this, I slapped the foul cat directly. Why didn't you tell me this earlier? The cat felt wronged in its heart. I didn't think you would actually forget. Poor baby is suffering. But baby didn't say. Without further thought, I grabbed the dead cat tightly and rushed towards the neighborhood entrance. Meanwhile, Yifeng Jice had fallen into despair. At this moment, He had been targeted by a vicious spirit. He kept backing away, but suddenly bumped into something. He immediately turned to look and bellowed loudly. "How did you come here alone? Can't you see it's very dangerous? Leave quickly." Hearing this, I gave a faint smile. "I'm not alone. I have a cat with me. Even with a cat, it's no use. Leave quickly. I can hold it off for you for a bit." No sooner had the words left Yifeng's mouth, the black cat charged forward. The direction it was heading was precisely where that vicious spirit was. Yifeng's eyes widened in shock. A flicker of reluctance flashed across his eyes, as if he had already seen the cat being devoured alive. But what he did not expect was, when the cat charged up, it landed steadily on the vicious spirit's shoulder. The next second, it opened its mouth wide, its sharp fangs piercing straight into the vicious spirit's neck. With a shrill, agonizing scream, that class vicious spirit instantly turned into black mist and vanished. Witnessing the scene before his eyes, Yifeng went completely numb. That wasn't a class vicious spirit after all. Yet it fled just like that? Then this cat must be at least a class, or even S-class. Thinking of this, Yifeng began trembling all over. You see, until now, no S-class vicious spirit had ever been seen in the entire country. Yet this cat was now suspected to be S-class. The young man must be too weak as its master. Could it be that the police had just been fooling around with us? The black cat sauntered over nonchalantly by my side. As its eyes met Yifeng's gaze, the disdain in them was undisguised. However, when Yifeng heard this cat speak, his pupils suddenly dilated. This cat could actually talk. Without a doubt, he was doomed. And this Rei Seiji cat was actually the young man's master. Thinking of this, Yifeng felt as if he had witnessed the apocalypse. You are indeed too weak. But it doesn't matter, since you were arranged by the Bureau. Just follow me. Saying that, I turned and walked towards the depths of the community. Only then did Yifeng finally realize that the young man before him was the one who had called the police, but he had never imagined that this young man could be so terrifying. As we walked to the deepest part, feeling the increasingly dense ghostly aura around, Yifeng's expression was one of utter horror. He was merely a half-step transcendent. Yet there was not a single entity within his reach, had this person not come to fetch him today, and he had ventured in alone, he would have undoubtedly met a miserable end. Along the way, Yifeng felt his legs go soft. Finally reaching the room, as soon as he entered, Yifeng's legs nearly gave out and he almost knelt on the ground. Fortunately, he held onto the doorframe nearby. The black cat couldn't help but let out a mocking snort. All right, don't be rude to our guest. I glanced at the black cat. The black cat immediately fell silent. Then, the two of us, one man and one cat, stared fixedly at Yifeng. This caused Yifeng to gulp loudly. Why are they both staring at me? They couldn't be thinking of eating me, could they? Yifeng immediately turned pale. I called the bureau, and they arranged for someone to come here. Could it be just to eat me? But the next second, he realized this youth possessed such abilities. He likely wouldn't need to resort to such methods. If he wished, the whole world could be his food. At this time, I said slowly, before you came here, didn't your people inform you? I called you because I didn't want to kill people without reason. But I do get hungry and need to eat. Hearing this, Yifeng nodded woodenly. When they called him from the bureau, they did mention this. But who could have imagined that there would truly be a fierce ghost that didn't eat humans. He then asked apprehensively, if you don't want to eat people, so you called us. Then what is it that you want? I didn't beat around the bush and asked directly. Your paranormal bureau has something called a soul master, right? I heard that absorbing a soul master's energy can replenish mine without needing to eat humans. We do have such a thing. But this matter isn't something I can decide. I need to report it upwards. Yi Feng nodded in understanding. This was naturally not something a lowly officer could promise. He was able to promise what was to come. Shortly after, I escorted him out of the community. As I left, Yi Feng tumbled and scrambled into his car. Then he floored the accelerator. He had never driven at such speed in his life. Arriving in Linyi district at top speed, he reported everything he knew to his superiors. This world was not as safe as imagined. A global demonic revival was underway. Humans and ghosts coexisted. The vengeful ghosts had developed independent thinking abilities. Some A-class vengeful ghosts could even disguise themselves as humans and even upgrade to become undead machines. The Cherry Blossom Nation had much experience with this. Recently, a crack-mouthed woman ghost had upgraded to an undead machine. So, Little Cherry Blossom had basically become a realm of ghosts. In summary, generally, if a country had an S-class vengeful ghost appear, it would plunge that nation into dire straits. As for S's class vengeful ghosts, none had appeared to date. When news of the utmost malevolent ghost spread to the higher authorities, the National Forestry Bureau convened an emergency meeting without delay. Whether on vacation or on external assignments, anyone able to mobilize was summoned to the Bureau's meeting room. After the director stated Lufeng City's current emergency situation, he had everyone discuss how to handle it. Considering I meant no harm, it was unanimously decided that Intelligence Director Liu Ruyan and Ghost Encounter Director Pei Jixian would confront the threat together. Scene shifts. They had arrived at the community entrance, but an additional person had joined them. Research Director Zhang Zi. His mind was solely on research. Hearing of the strange malevolent ghost, he had secretly tagged along. This made Pei Jixiang's face darken. The intelligence clearly stated this was a haunt of ghosts. He did not want to bring someone without combat ability as dead weight. But they had arrived, and he knew that even if he didn't let Zhang Zi come, Zhang would enter on his own, essentially serving himself up as prey. Reluctantly, he agreed to let Zhang come along. The moment they entered the community, seeing the ghostly miasma around, Liu Ruyan and Pei Jixiang's faces fell. Zhang was filled with excited curiosity. Within the miasma, a class malevolent ghost emerged. Pei Jixiang exhaled in relief. This level he could handle. What he didn't expect was, after unleashing his two guardian spirits, he could barely withstand the malevolent ghost's casual strike. Only with Liu Ruyan's help could they narrowly fend off the onslaught. Keep in mind, they had just entered the community gates, and yet were met with such formidable malevolence. At that moment, the malevolent ghost suddenly howled, and then charged straight at them. The ferocious ghost charged towards the group in the next second. Seeing the formidable ghost rushing at them, Pei Jixiang was startled for a moment. He wanted to retreat, but it was too late. A massive black ghostly aura surged towards Pei Jixiang. Pei Jixiang swiftly summoned his guardian spirit to guard in front of him. If this malicious ghost insisted on a fight to the death, then his guardian spirit might vanish. But the ghost would certainly gain no benefit. In that moment, he had already made up his mind. Even if he died, he would never allow those behind him to be harmed. Pei Jixiang's expression froze. He was prepared. Just as the ghost was about to charge at Pei Jixiang's face, the ghost suddenly changed direction, bypassing Pei Jixiang and rushing towards Liu Ruyan. Damn it, this malicious ghost had already become highly intelligent, knowing who was the most worthwhile target to attack. And it even understood feinting tactics. They had discovered the extraordinary nature of the ghosts in this area. Not to mention that a mere malicious ghost was already so powerful. It had even gained intelligence so early on. This time, our country is facing an unprecedented and gravest crisis. If not handled properly, the entire nation might vanish. Zhang Zi, standing beside them, watched the scene unfold. With disbelief and bewilderment in his eyes, he had envisioned that if a ghost of the same S-rank level appeared, it would wield catastrophic power. Pei Jixiang, on the other hand, did not ponder so much. He watched helplessly as the ghostly aura closed in on Liu Ruyan and could only cry out in anguish. He wanted to sacrifice himself to save his teammate. Liu Ruyan was now engulfed by the ghostly aura. Though they were not far apart, Pei Jixiang could no longer see Liu Ruyan's figure, only hearing his muffled struggling sounds. Then a tearing sound emerged from the ghostly aura. Pei Jixiang clenched his teeth tightly and widened his eyes. He dared not imagine if that sound was Liu Ruyan being torn apart, or his guardian spirit being shredded. Pei Jixiang was completely dazed on the spot. At that moment, he did not know what to do. Just then, a golden ray flashed and pierced into the ghostly aura. In the next second, the ghostly aura dissipated, leaving Liu Ruyan standing there unharmed. But a hint of sadness lingered on his face, for his guardian spirit had just been torn apart by the malicious ghost. A bunch of useless fools, a mere rank malicious ghost, could reduce you to this state. A voice suddenly came from afar. They immediately raised their guard and turned towards the direction of the voice. A man was slowly approaching them, a mocking smile on his lips, as if disdaining those before him. He was Hu Po, one of the 10 celestial kings. Zhang Zi stared at the man for a while, before letting out a cry of surprise. As his voice fell, Pei Jixiang also heaved a sigh of relief. It seems we had a narrow escape this time. The 10 celestial kings, each an extraordinary encounter. The Ghost Master is the strongest force of the Dragon Nation, and the Dragon Nation's final trump card. Yet there was not a hint of joy on Guguo's face. He was assigned to secretly protect them from the shadows, unless they encountered something too perilous. He would not make a move. Everyone believed that, as an S-rank Ghost Master, dealing with an S-rank fierce ghost would be a simple matter for Guguo. But only the 10 celestial kings of S-rank knew that eliminating an S-rank fierce ghost was not so easy. When facing an S-rank fierce ghost, half of the 10 celestial kings had to step forward. And even if the 5 of them combined could eliminate the S-rank fierce ghost, they would need a long period of recuperation, so they generally would not take action. This time, if not for seeing Liu Ruyan in mortal danger, Guguo would not have appeared so early. Seeing the rank fierce ghost scattered by Guguo's golden light, Pei Jixiang finally heaved a sigh of relief. Then he took out his walkie-talkie, wanting to ask Yi Feng about the situation here in detail. He never expected that in a rank fierce ghost that could be easily eliminated elsewhere. would nearly wipe them out in this neighborhood. But as soon as he exchanged a few words with Yifeng, the walkie-talkie was pierced by a blade that emerged from who knows where. Cutting off communications directly, this left Yifeng outside the neighborhood anxious. He knew they must have run into trouble inside. But fortunately, one of the 10 celestial kings, Gu Wo, was there. He then immediately reported the situation up the chain. And upon learning of this, the commander immediately made arrangements, regardless of whether they could contact that S-rank fierce ghost. At the very least, those inside must come out alive. And Pei Xingxiang's side had indeed run into trouble. They were now surrounded by fierce ghosts. Guduo, who had eliminated for a rank fierce ghosts, was already panting heavily from exhaustion, yet he had no chance to catch his breath. As a few more rank fierce ghosts charged at him, he immediately activated his spiritual pressure to restrain these forces, then took out his soul nails. If he could drive the soul nails into the fierce ghosts' heads, they would instantly lose their ability to attack. But he tried and failed, unable to nail the soul nails into the fierce ghosts' bodies. He could not fathom the crisis here. Why were the fierce ghosts so powerful? Seeing his spiritual domain gradually unable to restrain the fierce ghosts, a hint of dismay flashed across Guduo's eyes. Could it be that I, Guduo, a 24th level ghost master, would fall today to the leaders of a rank fierce ghosts? He had already used his trump card. But just as the fierce ghosts were about to break free from his spiritual domain, several silver rays of light suddenly flew in from a distance, piercing straight into the rank fierce ghosts' heads. Then a figure slowly walked out. It had been so long since Guduo had seen him. Have you become this weak already? Hearing this sound, Hutuo let out a sigh of relief. It was his squad leader, the voice of Bai Ling. Since the squad leader had arrived, it meant that everyone from the first squad was here. The 5 heavenly kings had gathered. Such an occasion he might not get to witness again in his lifetime. Zhang Zi's eyes were filled with excitement. But the next second, he was no longer excited. At the same time, I was lying on the sofa, although I had already sensed the ominous aura stirring outside. The black cat told me that it was just a few vengeful spirits fighting. Such things happened often, because vengeful spirits needed to devour others to upgrade and break through. Hearing this, I nodded indifferently. As long as it wasn't the national team, it was none of my business. At the thought of the national team, I immediately stood up from the sofa. No, I should go take a look. What if it was the national team? After all, Yifeng had said before that he would arrange for people to come soon. Thinking of this, I grabbed the black cat. As soon as I out the door, I sensed a surge of ominous aura being released. Whose devilish trick is this? Why so urgently? The black cat immediately said. It's an S-rank vengeful spirit from the building next door. But he's quite weak. Why don't we just ignore him? The black cat tentatively suggested to me. But I did not agree. I must go see him. If this vengeful spirit tries to harm the national team, isn't that cutting off my livelihood? As soon as I said that, I headed straight for the building next door. Seeing this, the black cat sighed helplessly. A mere S-rank could not make waves in this realm. He himself was a prime example. Moreover, he was no rookie S-rank. This made him quite vexed. When I arrived at the building next door, I found a ghost sneaking around, doing something shady. Hey you, what are you doing? Hearing me, the vengeful spirit turned his head slightly. Sensing no ominous aura from me, he thought I was just a minor ghost. Kid, you're messing with the wrong one. You've kicked an iron plate. As he spoke, he released a devilish trick surging towards me. My face remained completely calm. I didn't even look at the devilish trick. As the vengeful spirit wondered why I didn't panic at all. The next second, he understood. The ominous devilish trick dissipated into the air, right before it could hit me. This left the vengeful spirit dazed for a moment. Although he didn't know what method I had used, he instinctively unleashed his devilish aura, intending to devour me. The devilish aura of an S-rank vengeful spirit. Its power was self-evident. Deng Ziki, one of the 10 heavenly kings battling outside. He swiftly sensed the eerie energy of S7. He was most adept at all-around detection. He immediately roared loudly, "Send ahead. Quick, activate the strongest shield." The 10 celestial kings placed utmost trust in each other. Without a second thought, Send ahead activated the strongest shield. Right as the ghost prison was about to attack, Send ahead's shield successfully enveloped everyone. The dense black ghost prison instantly shrouded their heads. They looked up in shock at the ghost hovering above. It was released by that formidable ghost. Could it be that formidable ghost has appeared? And it wants to attack us? Deng Ziki murmured in disbelief. Her face was filled with incredulity. They had never encountered such a formidable ghost before. So naturally, they knew nothing about how powerful this damned fiend could be. Now, they were deeply experiencing it up close. Bai Ling's expression was solemn. He frowned deeply, as if pondering how to deal with it. But then, at that moment, Deng Ziki suddenly spoke up again. This ominous force isn't targeting us. The energy it's amassing isn't here at all. Just now we were affected by its energy outburst. In other words, some sudden incident must have occurred up ahead, causing it to release that ominous force. Upon hearing this, everyone's expression changed. For an S-rank fiend to release such ominous energy, it couldn't be anything simple. So what should they do next? Everyone turned their gaze to Bai Ling, whose cold, exquisitely beautiful face bore the highest authority here. As squad leader, he outranked them all. So they had to follow his commands. But before Bai Ling could say anything, Deng Ziki's face filled with panic. Quick, quick, send ahead. The shield, the shield. In the next second, the previously retracted ghost domain expanded again, emanating an even stronger ominous force than before. For a moment, everyone fell silent, utterly shaken by the ghost domain before them. Its ominous level was escalating rapidly, eventually reaching the 5th level peak, the apex of level 4. If this ghost domain continued developing like this, then in the end, we may truly be powerless to resist it. Even if the 10 celestial kings joined forces. Deng Ziki swallowed hard, then turned to Bai Ling. Her words made the situation clear to him. A ghost drinker fiend had already reached the level for apex. If it broke through to the 5th level, it could potentially become an S's rank fiend. If it truly reached that level and continued advancing further, the consequences for Dragon Nation were unimaginable. Fortunately, the ghost domain wasn't suppressing them. But if this fiend unleashed its domain on the 5 Celestials, or the citizens of Lufeng City, the outcome would be disastrous. For wherever an S's rank fiend passes, not a blade of grass survives. And this was no exaggeration. Bai Ling's expression turned grave. He spoke in a heavy voice. We must press on to investigate. Not a blade of grass grew. This was no idle talk. At this thought, everyone's faces suddenly turned grave. The formidable ghost had indeed become a reality. The entire Dragon Kingdom might cease to exist. Bai Zuan's face was solemn. He slowly opened his mouth, addressing those before him. We must continue our investigation deeper. We must find that vicious ghost. After speaking, Bai Zuan turned to look at Liu Ruyan and Pei Jixiang beside him. His intent was clear. Only the 5 heavenly kings would proceed further. Liu Ruyan and Pei Jixiang would only slow them down if they came along. Pei Jixiang quickly understood his meaning. Don't worry, Captain Bai. We'll protect ourselves. Our skills and levels are inferior to yours. So we won't stay behind and cause you trouble. We'll retreat from this district first. Hearing Pei Jixiang's words, Bai Lin nodded slightly. Then he led the other 4 team members deeper into the district, while Liu Ruyan and Pei Jixiang turned and headed out of the district. It wasn't that they were afraid to die, but that they truly wouldn't be able to help in this pinnacle battle. Their presence would only get in the way and cost lives. But they hadn't gone far when Pei Jixiang suddenly stopped, frowning as he said, "That damn Zhang Zi. Where did he go?" Hearing this, Liu Ruyan frowned too, glancing back at the Yuri district. Well, since he chose to follow, he'll have to pay the price for his own actions. At the same time, the formidable ghost before me had been completely subdued. Go on, keep taunting. Let's see how many more times you can do it. The ghost kept trying to possess me, over and over, like passing gas. Did you want to kill me with your stench, and then inherit my Chelsea? My tone was full of disdain. Yet the ghost looked at me with utter terror. He knew his own level. A formidable boss-level existence. No matter human or ghost, anyone who saw him would only want to flee. But in this ghost's eyes, I was like a puny Karamu. Just devour it and be done with it. Be quick about it. I turned my head slightly to address the black cat crouching nearby. Hearing me, the black cat stood up, gracefully padding toward the ghost. What a pity. Not a single decent opponent in this place. The cat shook its head resignedly. If anyone could understand a cat's expressions, they would see its furrowed brow and the disbelief in its eyes. Big bro, couldn't you show a little face? What level are you? What level are we? Is it fun bullying a small fry? Just as the kitty cat was voicing its complaints, the 5 heavenly kings faced an unprecedented crisis. A mirror-level ghost had actually transformed into a swamp-like form, draining them. Luckily the real master appeared just in time. Then Deng Ziqui, skilled at detection, saw through the mirror ghost. Otherwise, they would have been ambushed by a diarrhea-stricken fierce ghost. The 5 would have definitely died, dropped dead. And the mirror ghost, seeing itself discovered, was not numb, but rather filled with excitement. For the stronger these people were, the greater the possibility of it leveling up to S's rank after devouring them. It then directly unleashed its demonic desire. The domain of the sturdy white numinous and the domains of the other 4 celestial kings simultaneously activated. Under the convergence of the 5 domains, they clashed heavily with the mirror ghost strangeness, instantly erupting an extremely dazzling radiance. Outside the residential area, Liu Ruyan and Pei Jixian had long sensed the vibrations of battle. They were discussing whether to go in and help, when they suddenly felt the energy leaking out. This made Liu Ruyan turn deathly pale. Oh no, this is the energy fluctuation produced by the collision of the spiritual domain. It has already spread over here. Quick, release the forest guardian. Disperse all the positive energy ripples completely. Otherwise, the civilians in the city will suffer catastrophic casualties. Now they no longer need to discuss going in to help. They can only prevent that energy leakage here. The explosion produced by the collision of the ghost domain and spiritual domain was also detected by me. Then, following the sound, sure enough, under the black strangeness, there was also a wisp of golden light energy dissipating. But compared to the 2, That golden light appeared extremely faint. Could it be that the reckless ones are actually the people arranged by the nation to come over? After all, ghosts don't have golden special effects. Thinking of this, I was filled with excitement. I turned to look at that black cat. The black cat that was about to devour the one-armed ghost. After hearing my words, it didn't pay me any heed, but turned its head to look at the place emitting the golden radiance. Its eyes filled with a hint of disdain. Seeing the cat ignore me, I didn't do anything to it either, because at this moment, my mood was really good. I abruptly unleashed my strangeness, directly pressing toward the place of battle. The trembling S7 one-armed ghost to the side was frantically waving its signboard. Only now did it sense my demonic desire. Where did you get the guts to actually attack this, master? By this time, my demonic desire had reached the airspace above the battling 5 celestial kings. Although still very far away, I could already see very clearly what was happening below. When I saw the insignias hanging in front of them, the same as night winds, I immediately burst out laughing. Indeed, they were the people arranged by the nation. Their clothes were all the same. But their current situation was not optimistic. I turned to ask the black cat beside me, "Do you think I can defeat that mirror ghost?" Hearing my words, the black cat rolled its eyes. Is this guy doubting my intelligence? But no matter what, since he's already asked, I definitely have to answer. Otherwise I might get beaten up again. That memorial ghost is at most an S-rank peak existence. But master, according to human standards, you are at least a 233 for 7 level being. You know the answer to this question without me saying it, don't you? The black cat's words made me shudder. Is D also an S-level being? Am I really that powerful? All this time I thought they were just too weak. Now I realize how tremendously strong I am. I was about to go and rescue those people, but then the black cat swiftly blocked my path. Master, I have a suggestion. Why don't you listen first, before deciding whether to go rescue them or not? The black cat's face was full of solemnity. Seeing this, I hurriedly asked, "Say it quickly. I really fear that because I didn't show up in time, those people sent by the country might die at the hands of the mirror ghost. Master, since we're ghosts, we have no need to show up and rescue humans. And they're so weak. This world is one where the strong prey on the weak. Humans have no ability to resist us at all. Why bother saving them?" The black cat spoke these words with true feeling. But I was very unhappy. You dead cat. Didn't you say humans have souls that I could eat? How can I get full if I don't go rescue them? You want me to starve? Are you trying to starve me to death? Or do you want to inherit my Chelsea estate? The black cat really didn't expect me to take it so seriously, and at the time he only said it to save his own life. Besides, he thought I was just kidding around, trying to lure the police over so I could kill them. Just as I was about to ignore this black cat and charge in to rescue those people, the black cat's next words made me freeze. Master, there's something you may not know yet. Soon, a ghost tide will erupt. With humans as weak as they are, do you think they can survive it? The black cat's words left me quite shaken. What is a ghost tide? Why would a ghost tide mean humans cannot possibly survive? Master, a ghost tide means countless evil ghosts will appear. Initially, the human world had no vicious ghosts. The current coexistence of humans and ghosts is because the ghost gate opened briefly, allowing some ghosts to come to the human world. But soon after, the gate to the ghost realm will open wide, never to close again, unleashing myriad ghosts. All life in this world will be utterly annihilated. So, Master, You really have no need to care about those humans. So don't bother rescuing them. Hearing this, an immense, powerful demonic aura erupted from me, terrifying the black cat so much his fur stood on end. His eyes showed utter panic, for he knew full well that if I truly wished him harm, he wouldn't last even a second. Hearing the black cat's words, my eyes narrowed slightly, as if deep in thought about something. This made the black cat's heart skip a beat. What was he thinking? Could it be plotting to kill me? Then eat roasted whole cat? After all, he's so wicked. Just then, I turned to look at the black cat. All right, from now on you'll be called Big Myth. Hearing this, the black cat breathed a sigh of relief. At least it proved I wouldn't kill and eat him for now. He then started analyzing the meaning of my words. Big Myth, does that mean my mouth is big? Isn't that just criticizing me for talking too much? After the black cat figured it out, he felt quite helpless. Master, I have a name. Just call me Old Six. Okay, Big Myth. I will definitely go rescue them. In your view, ghosts and humans are simply opposing sides. Perhaps your thinking isn't wrong. But I used to be human too. And as a cat, you wouldn't understand what unity is strength means. I believe humans will definitely overcome this ghost tide crisis. As for you, if you have other ideas, you can leave my side. Besides, I only picked you up in the first place. No matter what you want to do later, it's your own free choice. Old Six sighed helplessly. All right, Master. Since you've decided, then I'll support you. I'll follow you. He thought after saying this, I would feel very happy. But instead, I just glanced at him coolly, my eyes full of disdain. What use is your support or not? Whether you're willing or not, nothing can stop me. This left Big Myth at a loss for words. He didn't know what to say. Yeah, it's no use fighting back. So helpless. Oh right. Master. How should we deal with this one-armed ghost? He's too ugly. I don't want to look at him. Before I could say anything, the one-armed ghost immediately pledged loyalty to me. Master, I too am willing to follow you. I vow to follow you unto death, he said sincerely, afraid of being killed if he spoke too slowly. Seeing the one-armed ghost so eager, I didn't bother him further. I turned and charged straight towards where the 5 celestial kings were fighting. Burly Big Myth and the one-armed ghost followed right behind me. What none of us knew was a huge crisis was unfolding around the Dragon Kingdom. The people of the Sakura Kingdom unexpectedly learned of the Spiritual Bureau situation, finding out the 5 celestial kings were trapped in the ghost house. They decided to cause some trouble, planning to lure the 3x level vicious ghosts currently rampaging in the Sakura Kingdom into the Dragon Kingdom's territory, and those 3 ghosts were quite unique, with distinct styles. The first was a beauty hunter. His distinctive trait was that he was very discerning. He would ask every woman he met if she was beautiful. If she said she was beautiful, he would instantly open his mouth to her. If she said she wasn't beautiful, he would never open his mouth. A mocking smile for the underworld. The second was the dream walker. As the name implies, it was a ghost that acted in dreams. In dreams, it could do anything, including causing people to die directly. The third, the red-cloaked one, was rather interesting. It would only appear in bathrooms and toilets. It would ask people if they wanted red or blue toilet paper. But no matter what they chose, they could not escape death. Meanwhile, in the residential area, the battle between the 5 celestial kings and the mirror ghost was nearing its end. As the mirror ghost unleashed its power, it directly separated the 5 people into 5 different spaces. The 5 of them together couldn't defeat the mirror ghost, let alone facing it one by one now. It was an utter defeat. As the leader, White Spirit knew he had to do something. Otherwise this would mark the demise of the 5 celestial kings. The Dragon Kingdom would also face irreversible calamity. With this in mind, White Spirit had made up his mind. Listen up, you 4. I will soon open a path of life for you with all my power. When the ghost domain breaks open, don't worry about anything else. Just run out at full speed and leave this residential area. Hearing this arrangement, the other 4 knew what White Spirit planned to do. They immediately objected. Noon Sage said loudly, "No way. You still have so much to do. My strength isn't much weaker than yours. It's more suitable for me to self-detonate." Word Master, in charge of healing, also objected right away. "You are the strongest among us 5. It's not suitable for anyone to self-detonate. My strength is the weakest. The only help I can provide is healing. It's most suitable for me to self-detonate." The other 2 also objected, saying they were the most suitable for self-detonation. Hearing his teammates' words, White Spirit felt warmth in his heart. He knew it wasn't time to be moved. He then told everyone, "This mirror ghost has become infinitely close to S's level. Only my self-detonation can possibly break the ghost domain. None of you can do it. Listen to my final arrangement, okay?" Hearing this, the other 4 celestial kings said nothing more. Tears streamed down their eyes. They knew their leader had decided to sacrifice himself, and they would never see their leader again. For after self-detonation, not even ashes would remain. At this moment, White Spirit slowly closed his eyes. Then he opened them abruptly, his eyes filled with determination. The next second, a dazzling starlight grew brighter and brighter, as scorching as the sun. This was White Spirit's proudest asset. His ultimate power to protect the country, to protect his teammates, to protect the people. He, with his arrogance, originally thought he could always protect the country until his death. Little did he expect that his life would now end in his 20s. Then he silently murmured in his heart, "Farewell, my motherland. Farewell, my family. Farewell, my comrades." The next second, the radiant energy within Bai Ling began to contract madly. Slowly, it contracted into an energy ball the size of a fist. Then, cracks began to appear slowly on the energy ball. I, who was speeding rapidly, sensed something instantly. I immediately asked Dazui, "What's the deal with that golden light?" Seeing the slowly contracting golden light, Serpentine Dazui immediately moved away, flashing a hint of surprise. The human is encountering a ghost. It's the energy contracting before self-detonation. I didn't expect that among these humans there would be such a bloody one, self-detonating. Hearing this, I was completely unsettled. Then my ghostly energy erupted fiercely. And the next second, my figure disappeared from the spot. But it left Dazui very helpless. "Master, slow down, please, at this speed. Meow meow, I can't keep up." He had just finished speaking when he saw the one-armed ghost running behind. "Master, why are you the only one here?" the one-armed ghost said as he looked around. Dazui gave him a disdainful look. "What a novice. I've never seen such a green Angie ghost like you." Saying that, he also disappeared from the spot. This left the one-armed ghost completely dumbfounded. "Where did you all go again? At least give me a direction." The one-armed ghost was almost driven to despair. He, a formidable vengeful ghost, had encountered such powerful experts today. Yet with his full strength, he couldn't even keep up with their shadows. Meanwhile, Bai Ling's self-detonation had reached its final critical point. At this time, just as he closed his eyes, ready for a glorious death, he was suddenly controlled by an energy force. To his horror, he found that his self-detonation energy instantly stabilized and returned to his body, directly exiting the mirror ghost's ghost domain. What's going on? A row of question marks popped up above. They sensed that someone had saved them. This was a ghost that even the 5 great kings couldn't break through together. Yet it was broken through in an instant by someone. Moreover, he had just reached the final stage of self-detonation. Yet it was suppressed and turned back. And one could hardly imagine how powerful the person who did this was. Captain Bai, where did you all go just now? Where are the others? It was Zhang Zi, who had been hiding and trembling in the corner. Seeing the suddenly appearing Bai Ling, he rushed over. Zhang Zi's words left Bai Ling at a loss for how to respond. He couldn't possibly say that he had appeared here inexplicably. Then he suddenly remembered that his teammates were still inside. Without the slightest hesitation, he turned and charged back into the ghost rain. Just then, he turned and charged back into the ghostly rain. At that moment, 4 figures were directly smashed out from the anomaly. They then fell to the ground with a series of thuds. After that, the 4 of them crawled up in a disheveled state, all wearing expressions of utter bewilderment and confusion, looking at each other in puzzlement. How did you all get out too? Seeing them thrown out, Bai Ling immediately went up and asked about the situation. As the saying goes, confusion compounded by confusion leads to greater confusion. Scratched their heads, unable to provide any comprehensible explanation. At the same time, the mirror ghost was furiously roaring, for he had sensed the auras of the 5 he had trapped disappear. It was obvious that someone had rescued them. Seeing me looking at him, he instantly understood what had happened. You deserve to die. If you hadn't let them go, after devouring those 5, I would have leveled up to S's rank for sure. Blinded by rage, he launched an attack at me without a second thought, never considering how I had appeared in his ghost domain. As his attack came close, a black cat materialized out of thin air. With a casual palm strike, it struck the mirror ghost square on the head, sending him flying 54 meters away. The mirror ghost's head was left buzzing, nearly giving him a concussion. Master, leave this one to me. You go take care of your business. Hearing this, I nodded. That's for the best. Perfect. I can go and chat with that pretty girl out there. My ghostly voice trailed off as I turned and walked out of the ghost domain. Outside, the 5 who had been dazed suddenly witnessed an unbelievable sight. They saw an ordinary-looking person strolling leisurely through the ghost rain, unaffected. This left everyone wearing expressions of utter horror, including the normally unruffled Bai Ling. For there was only one explanation for such a phenomenon. This ghost was at least an S's rank vengeful spirit. An S's rank vengeful spirit. Up until now, not a single one had ever appeared in the world. Thinking of this, Bai Ling swallowed hard. Then he suddenly recalled their inexplicable release from captivity, and immediately put 2 and 2 together. Seeing this, I flashed an evil grin, then took out my phone. Pretty girl. Want to be my girlfriend? Add me as a friend.